One more. This is from the other stories. I'll call again on Jennifer to read The Bridge, another short story.
Gotta tell you, I haven't actually seen the whole book yet. I've only seen the page and a half that Grandpa's given me. But I gotta tell you, this is a great story, and hopefully you guys will love it as much as I do. This was the one you were talking about that you had to start with it was for a contest, right? You had to start with the words on the edge near center span. Yeah, so actually it adds something more to it now. So, The Bridge. On the edge near center span, she pressed against the cool steel guardrail. A guttural sigh hung like mist from her lips. The river below bubbled music as it splashed against the rocks. She watched with fascination at a lace of foam and felt his presence then. Standing at the opposite side, he wore black from head to boot. A short-cropped beard hid half his face. His smile, warm and friendly, belied the dark, piercing eyes. She turned and faced him unafraid. A cold wind bit at her frail body, and she shivered noticeably. "Can I help?" the stranger asked. Hugging herself against the cold, she did not answer, but eyed this man in black. A horse and carriage waited at the far end. She wondered why she had not heard it approach. "Can I help?" he repeated. "Unless you can change the tide of events, go away." She pressed against the rail, glancing over her shoulder. She watched the river tumble through the rocks, and she stiffened when the stranger stepped forward. He paused in mid-stride. "I mean you no harm," he said. "You seem to be in need of help. Perhaps I can be of some assistance." Removing his cloak, he approached her and draped the cape about her slender shoulders. Quickly, she wrapped it about her, avoiding his eyes. Nodding appreciation, she turned to face the river again. Her shoulders then racked with sobs. She cried to exhaustion and slumped to the ground. The stranger waited until the sobbing stopped and her breathing became regular steamy puffs. "What's your name?" he asked. The words were soft and reassuring. "Sally. Sally Rowe." It took a long time in coming. "Well, Sally Rowe, what say we get you home?" Sally sat silent, wrapped in the stranger's cloak. She was barefoot, and the flimsy dress she wore was not enough to warm her on this frosty autumn day. Scanning the area, he asked, "Where are the rest of your clothes?" "Over the side," she said. Her bony arm poked through the cloak in a flipping motion. "My carriage is up ahead. I'll take you home. You have no business here today." He bent to help her up, but she resisted, causing the leather-bound ledger stuffed in his jacket pocket to slip out and fall to the ground. Picking it up quickly, he blew off the dust with an icy cloud of breath and replaced it in his pocket. She looked out from the hood that fashioned from the cave and whispered, "Please go away. I cannot, in good conscience, leave you here like this. Please. I fear for your well-being." "I'm afraid that you'll kill myself," she interrupted. "You are young, too young for..." Sally stirred under the cloak, clearing her head from its warmth and shelter. I am not young. These wrinkles on my face recount the years. My withered flesh and protruding bones declare my pain. Tears welled in hollow eyes, and she stared blankly at the bearded face before her. The village ostracized me as some hideous leper. My family turned me out when the villagers found me there. She stood and let the cloak fall. But surely you can seek medical help, he said. Stepping off the mound the cloak had left, Sally smiled at the stranger. Her lips cracked and began to bleed. He pressed forward, hands extended. Surely you don't want to die. She raised a hand to halt his approach and walked slowly to the edge of the bridge. With some effort, she clawed herself up to the top of the railing. She felt the cold, rusting steel beneath her feet. The stranger spoke softly and casually strolled towards her as if gliding over the cobblestone roadway. Sally Rowe, it is not your time to die, he whispered. She turned to face the river. Her hand slipped from the strut that steadied her. Glancing over her shoulder at the approaching stranger, she said, I'm already dead. This only ends my misery, and let her body fall. The stranger donned his cloak, then drew the ledger from his pocket and opened it. He thumbed through a few pages, running his finger down a list of names, and paused at Sally Rowe. He pulled a charcoal stick from a breast pocket and began drawing a line through her name. The stick then shattered. Thank you. Did you all get that was death? I don't know, maybe some of you didn't get that. That's why I thought it was so good. It was death.
She's making fun of me. I didn't.